Jeb Bush got in trouble for using the term anchor baby, and then he proceeded to dig himself in a deeper hole.
Excuse me?
Do you worry that using the term anchor babies could affect your
No,
ability
look,
to live in Hispanic
look, as I said in Spanish, my background, my life, the fact that I'm immersed in the immigrant experience, this is ludicrous for the Clinton campaign and others to suggest that somehow I'm using a derogatory term. What I was talking about was the specific case of fraud committed where there's organized efforts, and frankly it's more related to Asian people coming into our country, having children, in that organized efforts taking advantage of a noble concept with his birthright citizenship. I support the 14th Amendment. Nothing about what I've said should be viewed as derogatory towards immigrants at all. This is all how politics plays. And by the way, I think we need to take a step back and chill out a little bit as it relates to the political correctness that somehow you have to be scolded every time you say something.
They're not scolding you because you're being un-PC. They're scolding you because you said something dumb. That is the classic thing. By the way, don't get me wrong. Is there genuine concern about people becoming too PC in some areas? Of course there is. And I point it out all the time. I hate joke outrage, for example. But this is not that. When people get mad at Jeb Bush for saying stuff, it's not because it's like, oh, you're a truth teller who was too straightforward, man. No, it's like, oh my God, you're a fucking idiot with horrible ideas. That's why they get mad at you. Did you catch it in the middle there? He's like, oh, come on, man. When I was talking about anchor babies, I wasn't saying I hate the Hispanics. I was saying I hate the Asians. Somehow, Jeb Bush has managed to destroy the perception of him being the smarter Bush in just a short amount of time into this campaign trail and into this election. Everybody beforehand would have been like, okay, so rank the Bush intelligence level. First, obviously, Daddy is the smartest, HW. And then you have Jeb, and then you have George. Now it's looking like kind of a tie between Jeb and George. He's just said so many things that are so stupid. That's your response? Now, I don't know if that was, flying off the cuff and saying something stupid, or a part of me thinks they may have actually come up with that, him and his campaign, where they're like, okay, how do we get out of this one, guys? Well, we were speaking about anchor babies, and that's going to make us lose the Latino vote, and we're trying to get some of the Latino vote, so how do we cover our tracks here? What's a smaller minority community we can blame? Asians. The fucking Asians, they're always coming here and shitting out kids, and then they open stores where they sell General Chow's chicken. These assholes, man. That's what they are. We got to get them out of here, let me tell you. No, you know what's so scary about this Republican Party is that if you go back in time, this is the same kind of rhetoric that was used against all immigrants at every step of the way. So, for example, I think it's my great-grandmother on my mom's side came from Italy. And if you go back and you look at the rhetoric that they had about Irish immigrants back then and Italian immigrants back then, they would say stuff like, well, Catholics aren't Christians. They were just viewed as not Christian, even though it's part of the same religion. They think, well, it's Roman Catholic, so you believe the Pope along with just the Bible, so you're not a real Christian. They said about Irish people, you're actually not white. They used to say you're not white and you don't count. You're not American. And they would say shit like, all they do, these Irish, the Italians, they come here and they have kids and they just try to stay here. They're exploiting the system. Anchor babies. They're having anchor babies. But what's the reality? Every step of the way when conservatives said, I can't believe you're doing this, you're not the true Americans, what was the reality? They were dead wrong. It just so happens that Italian Americans were just as American as anybody else. Irish Americans were just as American as anybody else. Hispanic Americans, just as American. Asian Americans, just as American. When you bring religion into the conversation, Muslim Americans, just as American. But see, in the mind of a conservative Republican and a far-right winger, they think, well, come on, we're just kind of letting them visit. It's really our country. It's our waspy white country, and if you disagree with that, well, you're just wrong.